This is the Flathead Valley Sports Haven, a new segment where I highlight current and former Flathead Valley area players, coaches, and sports figures celebrating the best athletics our valley has to offer. The Flathead Valley Sports Haven is powered by Logan Health, and today's guest is Dillon Botner, a Whitefish High School alum and former University of Montana football player. He represents the Valley on one of the biggest stages, and today we talk growing up in the Valley, high school sports, his football journey, and what it means to come from this area. So Dillon, first and foremost, thanks for hopping on with me here today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So this should be a lot of fun. So you were initially telling me that you did grow up in Bismarck, North Dakota when you were younger and then moved here kind of halfway through your growing up. So take me through, what was it like to kind of be integrated into Whitefish in that kind of teenage years of your life?
Yeah, I mean, I got here when I was 12, so going into sixth grade. And I remember before we even moved here, my dad was thinking about moving us out here, and my dad and I rode the train out here in the spring to get me signed up for little guy football, just in case we did move out here. Yeah, that was my first time meeting a lot of my classmates and playing little guy football in Kalispell, and then getting integrated to all the sports around here. And it's a pretty close-knit group of guys. And even though there's a lot of different classes in the Valley from, B all the way up to AA, I think a lot of the guys know each other and have grown up playing around each other, and it's just kind of a good community to grow up in, especially for sports.
How about, when did football become serious for you? When did you realize that it could be something that you could do maybe post-high school?
Yeah, I think if you would have asked me in high school, if I was in football season, my favorite sport was basketball, and if I was in basketball, my favorite sport was football. So I didn't play my junior year because, unfortunately, I had a knee injury, and that's kind of the big year where you grow and develop in terms of varsity football and start to get recruited in that. So I came into my senior year, and I really didn't think I was going to play football in college, and I was like, oh, it's my last year of football ever. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy it. And then, it took me a couple of games to get back in the groove and, be confident playing on a knee surgery and playing at that varsity level. And after a couple of games, I started getting phone calls and letters about, potentially getting recruited in that. And then that's when I started thinking about, oh, maybe I could do this in college and it could be something for me.
How about, who were some of your biggest influences early on?
Oh, Brian Fauntleroy, Luke May, Jed Nagler, Chris Park, those seniors that I played with and kind of took me under their wing when I was a freshman. And fortunately, I got to travel with them my freshman year to all the varsity games and play in some garbage minutes. But they were very nice guys, and they took me under their wing. And especially Brian Fauntleroy, I spent a lot of time with him. And yeah, he was very influential in helping me, learn and develop in football.
Talk about just a different group of guys. I mean, those are guys you're going to be hearing Whitefish lore your entire life. What was it really about those guys that, in a sense, kind of set the standard? How did they do that?
Well, just the weight room. Because I remember when I was still in middle school, I'd show up to the weight room over at the high school, bike over there and go to weightlifting in the summer and then bike home. And there were always those guys in there. Like, they never took days off. And I remember watching them lift. I was like, oh, I hope I can lift that much one day. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to ever lift that much weight. And just growing up watching, some good role models in all of my sports and getting to, slowly work your way up and develop and grow. And it's a small school,
you don't say,
in relative terms, and everyone kind of knows each other and gets to grow up and spend time with each other. And they're very influential guys. So they worked hard, and I think that's where I learned it from initially, is those guys.
And you were a multi-sport athlete. You touched on it. You played basketball and everything. How did maybe playing basketball and playing those other sports, how did that help you for football?
Yeah, that's one of the things I don't think kids realize nowadays, getting recruited a lot, is football coaches and college coaches in general, they don't want to see one sport athletes. They like multi-sport athletes, and it helps you you might not think it would help you in ways like basketball or track or baseball would help you for football, but it does. And whether it's footwork or, just the discipline and the commitment, it really does help you in all aspects. So I think they look at that and they want to see multi-sport athletes. And I'm glad I got to play quite a few sports growing up. So I did, baseball and a little bit of soccer growing up when I was younger. And then when I got to high school, it was football, basketball, and track. And
love it. How about what stands out most to you about your time at Whitefish? What's maybe the most memorable aspect of going to Whitefish, or something that you still look back and think fondly of?
I think the small class size. I really liked knowing all the kids I grew up with. And, you could look around the high school and you basically know everyone in there, which I really liked. But one of the kids I grew up with in Bismarck, I would talk to him. He was like, yeah, I go to Bismarck High School and they have 1,200 kids in this school. And he's like, I meet new people in my grade every day that I didn't even know were in my grade. I was like, well, I know everyone I graduated with by name. And that's
first and last.
Yeah. And it's a pretty cool aspect of Whitefish it is a close-knit community.
How about, you've been a part of other programs collegiately and everything. You've probably heard things about just other high school programs. What in your mind makes playing for Bulldog, playing for Coach Ross, what about them? Like, what makes playing for them unique or maybe different?
Well, they're just really good guys, and they'll do anything for you. And just being there all summer and getting to hang out around them and getting coached by them. And, yeah, I don't think, because like my senior year, I remember we had 6 seniors and 6 juniors. We had 12 upperclassmen on the football field, and the 6 of us seniors never left the field. And I don't know if there's many other programs in the state that are like that. And maybe it was to an extreme my year where we had such a small group of guys, but you got a lot of playing time and a lot of improvement quickly. And I don't know what it's like at those Class AA schools where, you have 100 and some kids come out for football and everyone's fighting for 11 spots. So I don't know if you get that much independent, work and get talked to by the coaches that specifically. So I think that small size and them really knowing you well and getting to work with you can really help you to develop, especially as a young player.
That also just speaks to the culture, right, that Bulldog has kind of followed with Ross and everything, in terms of they're going to almost prepare you for life first and coach you in football second, right?
Yeah, they're developing young men. They're not just developing football players, which is very nice. And I think a lot of parents appreciate that too, is they don't just care about you on the football field and your performance. They care about you in all aspects of your life and who you are more than what you do on the football field.
You kind of touched on it challenge-wise in terms of hurting your knee your junior year and everything. Delve into that a little bit more. Take me through that challenge. How big was it? And do you feel like maybe that injury helped you become the athlete you were able to become?
Yeah. So the first time I did it was trying out for baseball in 7th grade. I dislocated my patella swinging a baseball bat. And so that they popped it back into place, and I tried to play on it without having surgery. And I got to basketball season, I dislocated it again. So they did surgery to hold it in place. And so I was fine for, 3 years then. And then my junior year of high school, I dislocated my left patella. And
so knees have been a common theme for you.
Yeah, patella stability is an issue, I guess. But so I had surgery then my junior year of high school, and then I made it to 2023, so that would have been 5 years. I had no issues at all, and then I had a freak accident at practice in college where I got hit from the side and I dislocated my patella again, and so I sat out actually the year we went to the national championship. I didn't get to play that year, which little adversity never hurt anyone. And it's a lot of discipline, and because you can't do a lot of things if you want to heal right. And then when it finally does heal, you have to do things right and rehab and physical therapy and getting back. And it's, adversity is good. And I think it helped my mindset and the fact that you never know when it's going to be your last play. It's cliche. And
don't hang your head. Use it as a learning and a teaching tool, right?
Yeah, and it gives you an appreciation because, sitting out for that national championship year and even my junior year in high school, you're watching all of your friends out there playing and you just wish you were out there. And there's nothing worse than sitting on the sideline and watching, your team go on without you, which I unfortunately had to experience, quite a bit, but I think it helped grow me as a person and as a player.
And then you touched on right after that injury, your junior year, going into your senior year, that's when you kind of realized football at the next level was possible for you. Was there maybe a moment or was there a game that you played where in your head you went, oh yeah, I've got this, like when it all kind of clicked or something? Was there a moment or a specific game that you can think back on that you knew immediately in that moment, okay, I can play collegiately?
I think one of the best performances I had, and when I was like, okay, I'm starting to get the feel for football again, was we were playing Polson in Polson, and Rosenbach and Bear and I think one other of the Grizzly football coaches were there recruiting me, and I had a really good game, and they came and they talked to me afterwards, and I was like, okay, maybe this is a possibility now. And
do you remember the stats or anything specific from that game?
No, I think we beat Polson by quite a bit, and I don't think they were great that year, but yeah, I just think I had a good game and played well, and I was like, well, maybe I can play at the next level, and hopefully I'll be able to make it and have something accomplished. So.
That's awesome. How about what's the most memorable game you got to experience at Whitefish, whether it was being on the side of that 2015 championship game or whether it was a specific game that you played in? What's the most memorable game you've been a part of at Whitefish?
Yeah, the most memorable game would definitely be the 2015 state championship, but I was only a freshman and I got to travel and suit up, which was awesome. But I just sat on the sideline and got to watch those seniors, that I grew up admiring, got to watch them go and win a state championship, and just to be a part of it was cool. And my name's on the trophy, didn't do anything, but it's on there. So I'll make some story up to my kids one day about how I had the game-winning sack or something.
There we go.
Hopefully there's no film or anything they could pull up, but
we'll burn it all.
Yeah.
How about most memorable game you got to play in?
Football-wise, I probably when we beat Butte Central at home, because we were like 0-2 or 0-3. We didn't win a game at the beginning of the year, and Butte Central came in and they were like favorites to maybe win it all that year, and we ended up beating them by 1 point at home for our first win of the year. And I was like, okay, maybe we have a chance this year. And then we rattled off like 6 or 7 in a row, which was cool, and ended up making the playoffs. And that was like the moment that I kind of just turned around. My senior year of football was beating Butte Central.
That's pretty cool. Let's move into the college process here. Take me through the recruiting process. You're coming out of Whitefish. Obviously, we've seen the pipeline from Whitefish to the Griz, from Whitefish to the NAI level, like right now. But what was that recruiting process like? What was it like to go through that?
I had no idea what was going on, and I wish I would have had a better idea. And looking back now that I've experienced the other end of trying to recruit people, and yeah, coaches, they want you there, and they'll kind of say what they need to say to get you there. And, I was believing everything coaches were saying to me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be, a superstar or whatever and get to play this and this. And I wish I knew more and could have played the game a little better, because you have to be able to play the game in recruiting and be able to, try and get offers and stuff like that. But I knew I wanted to stay in Montana, and so getting recruited by both MSU and U of M was nice, and I knew I was going to choose one of them, but what one I chose kind of didn't. I think I made my decision like a week before signing day. So
what was the deciding factor?
The scholarship, really, because I thought I was going to get a scholarship to go play tight end for MSU, and they ended up not giving me an offer. They gave me a preferred walk-on, and then the Griz wanted me to play O-line, and they had offered me a tuition scholarship. And I told them, I think I'm going to go play somewhere else because I don't want to put on the weight and play O-line. And then they came back to me, and they're like, oh, we'll give you a chance to play tight end. And so I was like, okay, I'll sign with you guys. So I signed with them, thinking I was going to play tight end. And the summer going into it, I looked up on the roster, and it had me down as O-line / athlete on the roster going into fall camp. I was like, well, that's not a good sign. And so I showed up to Missoula, and the very first day is the day you like check in, you get all of your gear and that. And I see Coach Germer, who's the O-line coach, and he sees me in the hallway. He's like, hey, excited to have you here. Can't wait to see you in the O-line meeting. And I go to get my pads and my cleats, and they give me O-line pads and cleats. I was like, well, I think I know where I'm going now. So,
looking back on everything, would you change any of that at all, though? Or do you feel like that is what you were destined for?
I mean, I'm so loyal to the Griz now, and I love those guys. And I'm so happy with, all the experiences I had. Like, I wanted to play tight end since I was like a little kid, and all through high school I wanted to play tight end. And I don't know if I could have done it differently. Would I have played tight end somewhere else? I don't know. That's just
probably wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be the same, and I couldn't imagine not experiencing my time at U of M and being with all those guys and coaches. And I love that coaching staff to death, and I would do anything for them. So
I love hearing that. That's awesome.
They shaped me into who I am today, and I don't think I'd be anywhere without them. So I think it happened the way it was meant to be. As much as at the time, I didn't want to be an O-lineman, and I thought I was going to be a tight end in that. And looking back at it, I think it happened the way it was supposed to, even if I was a little off-put, to say the least, to begin with. But
the universe works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, they really do. And
how about what was that first impression like when you stepped into that University of Montana football program?
I was like, yeah, this is the real deal, because there's some impressive players there when I got there. And yeah, if I ever develop CTE or die early, it's because of guys like Dante Olson and Jace Lewis and Patrick O'Connell and Tyler Flink. I think being on scout team against those guys took years off of my life. I mean, especially, Dante Olson and Jace Lewis, those guys.
Those are some big dudes.
Zero regard for their own bodies. Those guys knew how to hit, and they were nice guys. But yeah, on the field, they let you know that you were a freshman. So
that leads me into the next question perfectly: is how did the speed and physicality? How much different was it going from Class A football in Montana to playing for one of the top, most storied programs in FCS football?
Yeah, I just thank God that I got in after they outlawed two-a-days. Yeah, those are some serious practices, especially, you get there in August and it's 95 degrees in Missoula. And Coach Houck liked to practice in the hottest part of the day because he wants you to, be ready for anything. You're going to be playing hot games in September. He wants you to be acclimated to it. So
makes sense.
And you'd step out onto the field, and it was hot. They were long, and they were very physical practices, just grinding practices against, guys that. because you get there and in fall camp, you mostly just play against the other freshmen and young guys. They don't really put you into, the team periods where they're actually practicing the plays and stuff. But then, when you get to that first game week, they put you on scout team, and then that's when you play against the senior starters and that was an eye opener. When you get hit by some of those guys, you're like, okay, this is college football, and you're swimming that first year, especially because it's like learning a new language.
Gotcha.
People go out, like my dad this year went to a practice for the first time in 7 years. And he's like, he was listening to us screaming and that, because you usually can't hear it during the game, but you can hear all the O-linemen talking and the defense and that. And it sounds like gibberish to the unacclimated. Like, if you don't know the plays and the calls and stuff, you're like, what are these guys screaming? And so you're a freshman and you're getting screamed at and you're trying to learn the plays and everything's flying by you. It's humbling, because you go from all those guys come in being, the best guys in their teams and sometimes even in the state. And then they go to those Division I football programs and you're bottom of the totem pole, and it takes some getting used to. And it was fun, but it was tough. That first fall is a tough time to go through, getting used to living away from home and, long days and long practices and studying, trying to learn, basically a new language. And
as big as of a difference physicality wise it was, do you think it was a bigger adjustment mentally then, or physically?
Yeah, they handed us our playbook, and I was like, "What is that?" I mean, it's 60 pages thick, and they don't give it to you all at once. You get they call them installs, so you go install by install. So like week 1, you have an install, and it's like 20 or 30 plays. Week 2, you have an install. By the end of fall camp, you have a playbook, 60, 70 pages deep with all these, plays, and you have to know all the terms and how to talk to the other guys around you. And it all changes based on the defense. And the thing that is the worst to learn any plays against is the 3-3-5 defense. It messes everything up. And so you're a freshman playing against a defense you've never seen before, learning, an offense you can't even spell the plays. And yeah, it was humbling. But yeah, the plays, now that I've been through it 7 years, I'm like, oh yeah, I know every play like the back of my hand, and know how to communicate to all those guys. But I don't, when you're an older guy, you get mad at the freshman. You're like, it's not that hard. But when you were just there, 3 or 4 years ago yourself, swimming too. But yeah, everyone picks it up. It just takes some time, and you got to realize that as a young guy, it's going to take some time to grow into it.
That's funny. And you got a pretty rare experience here in a good way, in terms of when you played in high school. Bullwig being an assistant, Coach Ross, I mean, two of the more well-respected coaches, not just in Class A football, but in Montana high school football. You get them as your coaches, and then you get to play for Bobby Howell, one of them. I mean, he's a legend at Missoula, right? Yeah. What was it like to be able to play for both Bobby, to play for Coach Bullwig, to play for Coach Ross? How are they similar, and how are they different?
Yeah, the big difference is the time aspect. So in college, it's your job. It's basically a full-time job, and then you're doing full-time schooling on the side. So, I mean, you're putting so many hours a day, and they demand a lot of you at that level, which they should, obviously. I mean, you're getting paid to go to college, and, a lot of people want your spot on the team. So you got to put a lot of time in. Where at the high school level, Bullwig is a college player, and he's a smart coach, and he was a good player in high school and college. And he tries to do what he can, but you're just at the high school level, you can't have the time it takes to learn a college style defense or offense. So, I mean, Bullwig and Ross are really good at getting schemes and plays down and Boyle too. Boyle's really good at the high school level, being able to, try and get, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids to understand, this small aspect of football. Well, then you go to the college level, and Coach Houck would call it, you're in graduate level football now when you walk in for fall camp and that. And it's true. It's a big jump, but you also have a lot more time to accomplish that. So they do a good job, but they can't possibly do the level of detail that the college level is.
So how did maybe they, because we already talked about how they're going to talk to you as a person first and as a player second. Yeah. How much did that maybe tutelage help going to the next level in terms of getting you kind of prepared for life in that aspect? Did that seem to help you then going into college?
Yeah, because like Bullwig and Ross and those guys are big on don't be late, show up on time. Like if you're going to be there, you're going to put in the effort in that. And that's what they expect at the,
that's the bare minimum at the college level, right?
And you cannot be late for anything at the college level. That is just, if you want to have a really bad experience, you're late to a team meeting, you're late to practice. And so I had already learned that, thankfully, from Ross and Bullwig and Boyle and all those guys at Whitefish, that you're on time, you're paying attention, and they were really good at like getting you the basics of what you needed for football. Like, hey, this is the technique, this is the fundamentals, this is like the plays you need to know, and then you can go and build off of that at the next level. So they're good coaches, and they've had a lot of kids go play college football and been successful, and I think that's credit to them because they know what they're doing. And if they could get high school kids to come in and do 4 or 5 hours of film study a day and go over plays and that, I think they would do an incredible job. But it's just not realistic for high schoolers where you can do that at the college level.
Yeah. Let's talk about that pipeline a little bit, because we've seen more and more Whitefish kids over the years go on to play collegiately. Heck, you had a Whitefish teammate with you the last year in Finn Ridgway who played for Whitefish. What's it like to see to see multiple Whitefish guys? We have Ryder Baranowski, who's going to look to be the Griz's kicker next year, another Whitefish guy. What's it like to see for you that Whitefish pipeline kind of growing at not just the Griz level, but even the NAIA level, seeing multiple guys go to Western, Carroll, Tech, all those programs?
Yeah, and that's those coaches trying to build a program and, get back to that state championship level. And I think they were close this year, and they're getting kids to buy in. Like Bullwig was telling me that they're getting, 60, 70 kids to come and do tryouts. And they're trying to build that program from the ground up. And, because it's kind of embarrassing my senior year to have 6 upperclassmen go out for football. It's just, and it's not like we didn't have athletes in the school, but kids just did not want to play football for Whitefish at that time. And they wanted to focus on other sports, and Bullwig and those guys are now getting kids to buy in to the summer weightlifting and to buy into the football program as a whole. And I think that's where you're seeing a lot of that success come in, is it's not just during the football season. You have to have guys in there throughout the year working out and, going over plays in the summer, or even in the winter and spring. You have to be able to go over the plays and be around each other as a football team. If you want to be a good football team in the fall, you have to be a good football team year round.
You're listening to the Flathead Valley Sports Haven. We'll be back after a quick word from Logan Health to continue on this conversation with former Whitefish Bulldog and University of Montana Grizzly, Dillon Botner.
Is pain or weakness holding you back? When the pain cramps your lifestyle, consider joint replacement. At Logan Health Orthopedics, their total joint program provides proper education, support, and guidance during your journey. Orthopedic nurse navigators walk you through the entire process, from decision to recovery. Their surgeons use the latest technology to get you back to activity quickly with less pain and fewer restrictions. Visit logan.org/ortho to learn more. Get back to what you love with Logan Health Orthopedics.
Back from the break here on the Flathead Valley Sports Haven, continuing on with our conversation with former Whitefish Bulldog and University of Montana Grizzly, Dillon Botner. One thing too, I'll commend Bullwig about this, because you see a lot of coaches at other sporting events, but Bullwig, he is at, if the football season's over, if it's basketball season, he's at every basketball game. He's at every wrestling match. He's at every baseball game. He's at every track meet. He's at every Legion game, whatever it may be. He's watching all his guys in other sports. How much does that maybe as a player, when you see him at your basketball game, your track meet, whatever it may be, how much does that help in terms of the football season in general, knowing that he's not just there during the season, he's there in December, in May, he's there in June, watching you not just grow as an athlete, but as that person too.
Yeah, and I think that gives the players a lot of accountability too. Like, I mean, if I'm going to show up to all of your events, you're going to show up to my lifts and my, walkthroughs and stuff. And I think he wants to be, not just in a football aspect, but a part of kids' lives and leave an impression on them. And I think hopefully he wants them to come and then give back to the program and, lift and be a part of it and try and make the team better. Because it's really a team effort. You can't just have a football team with one guy showing up to lift or one guy being there in the summer doing plays. You need 20, 30 guys there consistently and to really buy in. And by buying into their lives, hopefully they'll buy back into the football program.
And now going back into your time at the university, there's a couple of questions I have for this. And one is, you just told me off air, is one of your most memorable games you said was the University of Washington game when you guys get to go in and you upset one of the bigger programs of all time. Take me through that game. What was that like from your POV?
Yeah, so I was telling you that was the first college football game I ever got to suit up for and play in. So I just remember, first off, getting on the bus in Missoula, and we drove to the airport, went straight through the gate, and pulled up to the chartered jet there. So it's just the football team on the jet.
That's awesome.
And we fly over to the University of Washington, and we get off the bus, we get on the bus there, and driving through, town, we get a police escort and get to the hotel and that, and, spending the night there. And we have all this stuff we go through. And Halk was so good at being consistent with everything we did, was trying to imitate the game and also being on a consistent schedule. So no matter where we traveled to or what day or time we played, everything was like consistent leading up to the game. And it was really nice in that way because you knew what to expect, but you'd have your like walkthroughs and your dinner and your film sessions. But yeah, we showed up and got off the bus to go to Husky Stadium there, and walking in, you're like, holy cow, this is a lot bigger than U of M Stadium. And so you get dressed, you come out for warm-ups, and, people are starting to fill the stands. And then we went into the locker room, and I remember walking out of the locker room for that first half and just looking up, and I think the attendance was 69,000 that night.
Jeez.
And just looking up and seeing, because the stands there, they like go straight up and they have that 2 levels. And I was like looking up at it, I was like, holy cow, this is a lot of people. And so I can't remember if we got the ball first or they got the ball first, but I remember our first offensive drive, we drove it down and got to like the 6 or 7 yard line. And we kicked a field goal, and I was on the field goal unit. And I remember running out there. It was my very first play of college football, and I was just nervous as hell. And our 3-year starting left tackle was Conlon Beaver, and he was one of my good buddies that I had been around in the program for a couple of years and always was hanging out with him. And I get down to my stance next to him. He's like, Botner, don't F this up. And I go to put down my hand to get my stance, and I'm sitting there shaking. And it's my very first snap of college football. And I forget the name of the guy. And he played in the NFL as a defensive end for a while. But
is the dude across from you,
yeah,
right?
Was across from Beaver and I. And so they snap the ball, and I take my steps and go to brace to, block for the kicker. And the guy literally picked up Beaver and I and drove us back, 3 or 4 yards and set us down just in front of the holder. And luckily we got the kickoff and they made the field goal. But Conlon, Beaver, and I are sitting there on the ground, and we just got trucked by this NFL guy, and we're like, what the hell was that? And that was my introduction to college football. I was like, if that's what we're dealing with, it's going to be a long day. And
it's like all those guys talking about like their welcome to the NFL moment. That was your welcome to college football moment.
I wish I remember the name of the guy. I can picture his face, but
I'll have to look it up.
He walked me. I was a redshirt sophomore, so I was like,
and you're not a small guy by any means.
I think I was about 260 pounds at that time, and Beaver had to be about 310, and he just drove us both back. And I walked back to the side, or ran back to the sideline, and our O-line coach just chewed me out. He's like, "What is that? Why are you on the ground?" I was like, "Oh,
what else is your coach going to do, though?" I mean, he probably knew at the time. He goes, "I can't just."
Yeah, so that was my welcome to college football moment. Getting planted in front of 70,000 people, but.
And you guys go into the halftime locker room down 7-3.
7-3.
Did you guys go in the locker room thinking like, "Hey, we can win this game. We can get the upset"?
Yes, and Coach Houck came in there. He's like, "This is our game to win." Like, there wasn't like, "Oh, I think we could win this game." It's like, "No, we are gonna win this game. Like, this is our game to win." And yeah, would we end up winning 13-10?
Something like that, yeah. 17-13, 13. Say it was a low.
I think the second field goal I did better on. I think I didn't get planted on the second one, but yeah, that welcome to college football moment, running out of there in front of all those people, nervous as hell, and then getting planted was quite the fitting beginning to a college football career.
13-7 was the final.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't score in the second half at all.
Yeah, and I think we scored a touchdown and then a field goal. So, yeah, I think I had 3 plays that game. But
that's absolutely incredible to come away with that upset like that too. And I mean, that story is going to be told the rest of your life.
Yeah, and that whole trip, just the first time traveling with the team and suiting up and seeing like how they take care of, us college football players compared to high school was just unbelievable. And just seeing that whole experience. Because I remember we got done with that game and I was in my own bed, like I think 2.5 hours after the end of the game, because we flew back home. And I mean, it was a crazy experience, but I was so, I think, awestruck really to be a part of that and to see it. Because my freshman year, they went and played Oregon, but I didn't get to go. I didn't get to go travel with them. But one of my good friends was a freshman, and he got a suit up for that game. And I remember hearing him talk about like the traveling and what it was like at halftime and like the whole game day experience. And I remember being excited to experience it for myself. And to have that be my first college experience was just, you couldn't ask for a better start.
That's absolutely phenomenal. And then, I mean, you have a heck of a career. 7 years at U of M, right? Yeah. Culminating this year. Take me through this last year for it. You were the starting center this year for the Griz. To be able to end your season the way you did, FCS, Scholar Athlete of the Year and all of that. Take me through this last year for you, and what was that like?
Yeah, I remember because we had a new O-line coach the year before, and I played a little bit of tackle, would get in somewhat, and I was a 6-year senior, and we had quite a few older guys. And I remember we lost to South Dakota State University, and we were in South Dakota. And all the seniors were going around hugging each other, and, there's tears, obviously. And I remember sitting there in the grass after I'd showered, and I was sitting there on the grass waiting to get on the buses. And I was just thinking to myself, that is not going to be my last year of college football. I was like, I knew there was a potential I could get another year of eligibility because of my knee surgery. But I just remember sitting on the grass there like, I cannot go out playing, because I hardly played that year, and I didn't think it was my best performance at all. And then coming back to U of M, because we got some time off after that, and I came back home, and I was thinking about, what am I going to do? And I came back to Missoula, and Coach Houck had a meeting with me, and he's like, hey, we think we can get you another year of eligibility. He's like, you can go to med school at any point in your life, because at that point I was thinking about going to med school. And he's like, you can go to med school at any point in your life. He's like, you can only play college football once in your life. He's like, make them rip the helmet out of your hands. He's like,
and that's kind of what you did.
Yeah. He's like, we want you to come back. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I went to compliance and filled out the form, and heard back like, hey, yeah, you're gonna get another year of eligibility. So I came back and was doing that spring training, spring ball actually, and we had lost Cade Klimzak because he had graduated, and we had lost Brandon Casey, and so I was thinking, I'm going to have to compete with Everett for the right tackle starting spot. And Cannon had played left tackle the previous year. I was like, he's a pretty good lock for left tackle. So I was like, I'm either going to have to find my way into a guard spot or beat out one of the guys at right tackle. And then we're going into spring ball, and they're like, hey, we need someone to play center. And I was like, I'll do it. Like, why not? I mean, we need a center, and I understood the plays pretty well and understood the concepts. I was like, yeah, I can play center. So I started playing center in spring ball. And then I was talking to Cade Klimzak, because I'm pretty good buddies with him. I was like, hey, you need to come back for another year. Like, please, please come back for another year. And I remember just trying to convince him over and over to come play, because he had knee surgery too, and he ended up after spring ball applying and getting his waiver back. And so he came back, and then him and I were competing for the starting spot at center, and we ended up doing the thing where we would rotate every 2 series at center, and that was a lifesaver. I mean, I think we were both very happy with how it turned out, because we both wanted to play. We're both senior guys, and it just ended up that we were just rotating in and out, and it ended up working perfectly. And I loved, it was awesome, because all the other guys would give a shit on the O-line. They're like, you guys are only playing half the snaps we are. And we're like, yeah, we're old. We're 7th-year seniors. we don't have to play all the snaps. So we'd go and, you'd play your 2 series, and you'd give it everything you have, and you're like, oh, now I get 2 series off. So you'd have that at the back of your mind. And there's a couple of games where just funny, like when we played Weber this year, I had 2 back-to-back touchdown drives that were like 13 plays each, and I was just dying coming off the field. And Cade was up, and he went in, and I think he had 2 scoring drives, and they were like 3 and 4 plays each. And I was sitting there dying, and he comes back, he's like, hey, you're up again. I'm like, you just did 7 plays. And then
that's funny.
It was the opposite when we played Idaho State. That was a crazy game. That dome was so hot and humid. But Cade came off like a 14-play. He came off like a 14-play scoring drive. And he comes to the sideline, and he throws down his helmet, and he's sitting there dying. He's like, you're up, man. And he just sits on the bench. I was like, I got you. So it was such a cool dynamic, because Cade's one of my good friends, and I was like begging him to come back, and then having it work out where
cool that you get to do it together, right?
Where him and I got to trade off playing center, and Houck wanted both of us to play, and we were both playing at a good level, and it was nice to save your body, you know, not having to play every snap, which was good for both of us because we're old and both had knee issues. But yeah, it was a very memorable year getting to play with all those guys. And I mean, no one in my class was there anymore, and I was the last of the old guard. But yeah, it was a very memorable year, and obviously, you know, you never want to end on a loss. And I mean, the 2 losses we had were just painful, and but I love those guys, and I would do anything for them and my teammates, and that it's a very close-knit group there at U of M. And a lot of people ask me all the time what I think of Coach Houck, and I've been given the same answer for 6 years, and true to its word, if what Coach Houck has meant to me over the last 7 years is, I mean, he's a friend, he's a mentor, and everyone asks me, like, what do you think of Coach Houck? And I give the same answer. It's, if Coach Houck called me at 3 a.m. and told me to bring a shovel, I'd be there, no questions asked. And that's who he is to me. So, I mean, I'm so glad I chose to go play for him because, I mean, he is a great coach and he develops young men. And I don't think I would be who I am or accomplish any of the things I accomplished without him in particular, but then all those other coaches over there had a big influence on me.
Then I'll ask a different question. How do you think Coach Kennedy's going to do? How excited are you that he's the one that takes over?
Yeah, that guy is fun to be around. He is very energetic, and he was our receivers coach this last year, and he was always yelling and getting those guys going, and very smart, very knows what he's talking about, very energetic, and I don't know, not the opposite of Houck, but just very different. You know, Houck's very
similar style of drives, I would imagine, though.
And but Kennedy is very energetic, and he's a good guy, and that program is going to be just fine with him leading them. So
that's what all Griz fans want to hear there.
He's going to find a way to win football games. I don't know how it's going to look or what it's going to be, but those players and those coaches, they're going to win football games. There's not a doubt in my mind that they're going to be just fine. And Griz fans are 0 to 100 and back to 0. They're very emotional people. They're awesome fans, but they ride the roller coaster. So he'll be fine though.
Would you have it any other way?
No,
with Griz fans.
I mean, we'll score. All right, we'll win one game by 40 points. Well, we're the greatest team of all time. We're gonna win it all, and we'll go win a close game in Idaho State by a couple points. Oh, we're horrible. We're not gonna do anything in the playoffs. And luckily I don't have any social media, so I didn't see any of that stuff. But a lot of guys would show me the eGriz, and that website is a cancer. It needs to be deleted. There's just delusion, and no one should ever be on there. But occasionally one of the other guys would show me something that was said about us, like, oh, we're the worst O-line ever, but we have the most prolific offense in Grizzly football history, but our O-line sucks. So I'm like, what more do you want? I mean,
yeah, that's Griz fans for you.
They're awesome though. After a long game, and you're running back up the tunnel there, and those guys above the tunnel are throwing Twinkies at you. The locker room Twinkie post home game was just immaculate. I don't know who those guys are that are throwing Twinkies above the tunnel, but they need a shout out because we had a lot of Twinkies in the locker room after games, and it was,
oh my goodness, that's hilarious. That's awesome. And now everywhere you go, what does it mean to know that no matter where you go, you're going to be representing Whitefish. You're going to be representing that green and gold. You're going to be representing the Flathead Valley, the maroon and silver. What does it mean to know that no matter where you go, you get to represent this community no matter where you're at?
Yeah, I love Whitefish, and I'm so glad we moved here. and just the people and the place is unbelievable. Like, I mean, there's a ski resort right there. There's a lake. I mean, there's mountains and trees. Trees is a big thing. I didn't have those growing up. They're incredible. But yeah, just this whole community is just awesome. And I don't know. I wish I had a better vocabulary to be able to describe it and do it justice.
Usually that's how you know it's good, is when you don't have the words.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of support from a lot of people, and I will say though, the nice thing about being O-line is no one knows who you are unless you make a mistake.
It's like a DB, right? You know you've had a good game when your name is not mentioned.
Yep, and so I don't really get recognized that much, but the people that do know me are really supportive of me and have, had my back the whole time. And I mean, obviously I've had a lot of ups and downs in my career. I mean, I think the lowest point in my career was Weber State 2 years ago. I gave up a strip sack on a read option play to end the game in overtime.
I remember that.
Yep. So that wasn't even a throwing play. That was supposed to be a guard pull and a handoff, and I unfortunately made the mistake on the backside of hinging a little too far to help Cade and got beat around the edge. And I look, and quarterback's got the ball. I'm like, he should not have that. Why is he throwing the ball? And so yeah, that was probably the worst play I've ever had. And
how about the best play?
Oh, the best play is I had a pretty good one playing left tackle 2 years ago. What team was it? It was a purple team early in the year. Carolina.
East Carolina, maybe?
East Carolina, that was the one. We were running outside zone to the left, and I reached the D end, and Liam took over for me, and I ran up and blocked the safety, and Eli came right off my back and ran it in for like a 90-yard touchdown. And I think we were struggling that game, and that was close, and then we had those like 2 touchdowns in a row, and then we just took off. But that was probably one of the best plays I've had in my career, was, getting to lead block for Eli on that long touchdown.
Blocking for Eli Gilman had to be fun.
If you're wrong, he makes you right. And that's
there we go.
Yeah, as long as you have a piece of the guy, Eli's going to make a miss. And yeah, he would find holes I didn't even know existed. I mean, it would be like this year, we'd have me and one of the guards, we'd be shoulder to shoulder, and somehow Eli would fit in between us. And it should have been a tackle for a loss, and he's finding 5, 6, 7 yard gains. I mean, he is a special running back. So.
That's fantastic. Before I get you out of here, I got a couple of rapid fire questions. Before we get to that, though, what's next for you? I think that's going to be probably what a lot of people are going to ask. What is next for Dillon Botner?
Yeah, I for the longest time, I wanted to go to med school, and so that's what I was preparing for my whole college career. And I ended up getting into med school last month, and I thought about it after 7 years of college football, having to go back to school for that period of time, and I just couldn't see myself doing it anymore. So I ended up turning down med school. And then when I was growing up, for the longest time, I wanted to be a pilot because my dad's a pilot. And I tried to go fly in the Navy. I tried to go to the Naval Academy when I was in college, or in high school, I mean. And they told me I was too tall, and that's when I ended up going to play college football. And then turns out college football has shrunk me enough now. So I ended up applying to go fly in the Navy a couple of months ago, and then last Thursday they got back to me that I had been selected for a student naval aviator. So I'm going to go and try and fly for the Navy, I think is my goal. So
That's awesome. That sounds fantastic.
yeah, so hopefully I'm not too tall, and obviously a lot of things have to go right for me to be able to go and do that. And I've always wanted to serve, and to be able to go be a pilot would be, because I fly with my dad a lot and I love his job. I love flying, and to be able to go and do that and also serve the country would be quite special to me. So hopefully I make it. So I think that's, maybe down the road I'll reapply to med school, and I can always go back and try to go to med school if that's what I desire. But I think for right now I'm going to hold off on that and decide I'm going to go do something else. So
Go follow your dream a little bit, right?
So hopefully I'm not too tall, and hopefully, they have very stringent requirements, and hopefully I can pass them. And I hope to, hopefully be doing that for the foreseeable future. And then when I'm done with that, maybe I'll go to med school or do something else. So we'll see.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Before we get you out of here, how about a couple of rapid fire questions to end this thing?
Oh.
So we've already alluded to Washington Husky Stadium and to University of Montana, so we're going to omit those for this first question. So other than those two, best stadium you've ever played in?
Ooh, Weber State's cool. I like the Weber State Stadium. They have an awesome view from up on the hilltop there.
How about toughest opponent you ever faced?
I know what I should say. I'm not going to say it. Yeah, there's...
Whether it's a team or an individual.
Individual, there's a guy from Sac State, the D end, I can't remember his name, the last couple of years. He is a really good player, and he was a good matchup, and I enjoyed playing against him. But yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking being on an island against one of those good players the whole game. So he's probably the best individual, and then obviously, Los Angeles is probably the best opponent I played. So
how about, could you get those non-conference games? What were maybe one of those coolest non-conference matchups?
NDSU beating them in the semifinals. That was awesome. We beat SDSU, got revenge on them this year. USD was a good game too. Missouri State, when we played them, that was a fun game. I'm trying to think some other non-conference matchups. UND, we've got revenge on them, thankfully, this year. That one last year was a heartbreaker, and then it was a heartbreaker for them this year the other way on that last second touchdown pass, which was just incredible. There's been some really, really good football games I've got to experience and be a part of, which I'm very grateful for. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be playing NDSU anytime soon.
No.
So
good memory to carry on with, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun to play some of those Dakota schools, and they're very historic programs, and when you can knock them off, it's a pretty good feeling. So we got 3 out of the 4 this year. We wanted to play NDSU too. We wanted to go 4 for 4, but we didn't get that opportunity. But unfortunately, lost to the Cats twice, and that one is going to hurt for a really long time, and I get shit for that a lot. But,
but I got to imagine you probably have some good friends over there too.
Yeah, and you're not going to win them all. Unfortunately, there can only be one winner at the end of the year, and that's how sports goes. That's how life goes. You're not always going to win everything. You're going to get knocked down, but this is our year. It's the year of the Griz. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Bobby Kennedy will go win over there this year and give them a little taste of their own medicine. So
I think that's a perfect spot to end on, Dillon. That's pretty much all I have for you. I appreciate you taking the time, coming on, and telling your story here today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone, not just in the Valley, but all over, that supported me. And helped to get me where I've been, because I couldn't have done it on my own, especially, from my football coaches in North Dakota to, coaches here in Montana, my high school coaches, my college coaches, and then a lot of professors and teachers. And I mean, it's been a lot of work, but it hasn't just been me. And I appreciate everyone, especially the Griz fans, for helping me get through it all. So.